All right, my name's Casey Wescott, and I'll be talking about on-chain music for on-chain games. And I'm a musician that's been generating music and music tools on Starknet, and wanted to discuss kind of why I'm so excited about the musical possibilities on Starknet. And if you think about generative musical models or generative models and musical computations as smart contracts, you've got this incredible ability to integrate these models into application logic. And one of the best examples for doing that is games. Now, there's also compositional tools and sound sculptures, and I'll kind of show you a few examples of all of this stuff. But the other great thing about this is it reduces the cost of, these transactions, and then thus allows new forms of collaboration. And because musicians are often working in pretty resource-scarce environments, the cheap computation and low gas fees allow us kind of new possibilities that you wouldn't have on other platforms. And second, there's the potential for Second, there's the potential for immutable models. Okay, gotcha. Sorry. As a musician, as a kid, I would record with 2-inch tape, and at the time we thought this was going to be around forever. And then now you have to transfer that digitally, and you have to put the 2-inch tape in an oven, and it's really not very sustainable. And so the idea of having these models that could last forever and generate new music is really appealing, because when you're a musician, there's this idea that you hope to make something durable that'll last, hopefully a little while. So. Okay, and another possibility with everything on Starknet is the ability for attribution of musical ideas and computations, and especially when people are able to interact with each other via these contracts. That's a really kind of powerful thing to sort of trace back all the collaborations that people have done. And there's the other potential for non-custodial models that are owned and trained by musicians that can interact with other musicians and creative people, and like I was saying earlier, tools for resource-scarce scenarios. So when we think about gaming music, a lot of times, we think about, some of the classic consoles, and, Koji Kondo was great with music themes and that were very scene dependent and optimized for the sound generator. So it was very, a few oscillators and a noise generator. And you would see, sounds that were based around events, collisions with the sprite layer. And then you'd also see sonification of game state, and one of the obvious examples is Tetris. When the stack gets pretty high, the tempo increases. Adventures of Link, when you get low HP, you start getting alarms and notifications. Intense kind of minor music, right? When you win and lose a game. So all of these sort of, game state elements are been used to animate music in some way. Thanks for that. Yeah, a little bit of feedback. And so a bit about my background is I've been playing in this band from Seattle called Fleet Foxes for about, 15, 16 years. And in this band, I have, we do a lot of singing and harmonization, and so I've coded a lot of stuff, over the years in Super Collider, and one of those things was auto-harmonization algorithms, and, non-repeating kind of drum tracker things and endless sound sculpture stuff. And so to give you an example, of the sort of different kind of harmonizations that you can do with, some of these algorithms that I've done, is this is from our record Helplessness Blues, and a couple examples of 5-part harmonies that are doing things that I couldn't come up with myself. Like I submit kind of interesting harmonic criteria. I say, hey, give me 100 harmonizations back. I sit back and find the good stuff, things that I couldn't think of myself, and just little nooks and crannies. And so an example of that is this. Hopefully it's not too loud. Oh, can you hear that? Let's see if there's any audio here. Oh shoot, is there any way to, okay. Yeah, it doesn't look like, oof, boy, that's gonna be a tough one for for my presentation. Is there usually, I guess Well, maybe you can just kind of imagine the harmonization. I'm not sure if we've got audio going. Yeah. Okay. I can also just play it on my laptop. I've got copies too, if that would help. Or I'll be grabbing my laptop just in case, because I could just play it from there. Yeah, all right. Oh yeah, yeah. I'll just do that. Okay. So, just imagine this playing, and so I'll just put it up to here, and I'll slowly introduce the 5-part harmonization, and you can kind of hear it evolve, and then I introduce the track and fade it in. So. I had no chance. I'd work till I'm wrong. Another track with ornamented 3-part harmonization on. So in that situation, you can create really different textures with just some really basic, music computations, right? And so the cool thing about this is all of this can be put into Starknet contracts. And I'm going to pull my presentation up again. And sorry, let me find it real quick. And I think it was already up. Yeah. Okay. So that's what I was doing for those harmonies, and but these can all be put into smart contracts. And so some of the things that I've been doing in Starknet is these same sort of harmonies where you can change the seed and get these different, harmonizations and variations, and you can apply these different kind of musical computations to get different sounds for different contexts, And so I've got a sort of React kind of MIDI sequencer player, and I'll just give you an example of how it can be used, because then we'll get to the game stuff. Okay. And then, okay, so this is using that player. I'm opening up a MIDI melody, very simple. And then I'm going to harmonize it with kind of in the style of voicings from Ravel's string quartet. And so you've got this Starknet kind of way to interact with the contract, and then it'll reharmonize based on the mode and different harmonies. So that's just an example of some of the musical computations that you can do, right? And so think about like all of those kind of ways that you can make these different kind of colors and different flavors of harmonies, but then you add that to the composable nature of on-chain games, right? You get all this open access to the game state, which means that you can do so much auto scoring that can be unique and context dependent to the user, location, and so that means that you can do audio associations to resources. So, you know, NFTs or like loot related themes. And you know, you can have different sound fonts or players depending on the game that you're playing. And so I've been working with Realms and working on the music for them, both to come up with the sound fonts and or the samples, as well as the actual musical vibe that fits you know, that game. And so I've been using this as a sandbox, and I can show you a little bit of that, and it's very similar, and you've got like a whole score sort of playing out over, you know, so all of these sort of things can play, but they can be varied over time based on block number, random seeds, NFT properties, player properties, and so there's, you know, so much potential that I think you can kind of imagine, when you've got sort of, oh yeah, sweet. All right. Okay, yeah. So that's just one sound thing, and this is one thing that I've been working with on the game. So with Realms specifically, I've been, you know, working on coming up with localized music according to where you exist in the game. So this sort of track is just, you know, when you're power grinding and you're kind of traversing this area, but there's other opportunities, so I can grab this too for the next little video bit. So, for instance, like the home base that you're at, it can be really peaceful, idyllic music, and then the enemy base can be fast and intense. And I was talking earlier about the personalized experiences, and I was really inspired by one of the devs for Realms, Loaf, who was at a hackathon in Lisbon recently, and I was like, man, you know, it would be really interesting to just, you know, in a night try to come up with something where, you know, you could get this endless stream of music that would fit a certain location in Realms. And so when you go there, you would hear this kind of unique sort of sound. And so I used my, you know, Disclavier piano and generated some music with a smart contract and spit that out. And this can kind of give you a bit of an indication of some of the things you can do with both sound sculptures and in games. And so for this piece, you know, there's no melodies, it's just generated straight from a contract based on like some very simple randomness, modal transpositions, etc. The laptop's connected to the piano, and yeah, just playing directly from a contract, all of the notes that have been generated. So this can kind of give you a sense of one, you know, the computational power of Starknet and how expressive it can be, just with, you know, this isn't, you know, many lines of code. And so you know, this is some of the stuff that I'm working on with video games, and I'm, you know, really excited. And so, you know, hoping to release that React player where you can sequence and start interacting with contracts. And yeah, you know, it's a process, but it's a really exciting time. And yeah, I'm thrilled to be, you know, working in this new medium with all of these, you know, exciting folks. So, cheers.
Thank you, Casey.